Board Game Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Barjo, and this is Darren, our gushing fountain of gaming knowledge and noob exterminator par excellence.
Affirmative.
This week we study the effects of jelly beans on blobs in the Wii game A Boy and His Blob.
And Ajax, our roving reporter on all things gaming, will be visiting a man and his shed. It's a game-tastic shed at that.
And we've got a one-face review to hand down the verdict on Sonic Unleashed.
Sonic is a blue 15-year-old hedgehog who has the ability to run faster than the speed of sound. The first Sonic game was released on June the 23rd, 1991. He was created by artist Naoto Oshima, designer Hirokazu Yasuhara, and programmer Yuji Naka.
Finished?
For now.
Let it not be said that we don't listen to our viewers. We had a request to review the Wii game A Boy and His Blob. So, take it away, Hex.
This is a reimagining of the classic 1989 NES game of the same name, and anyone who's played it will understand the basic jelly bean eating blob morphing gameplay here.
For those of us not so versed on blob lore, here's the story in a nutshell. You play as Boy, who happens to find an alien blob that crash lands near his treehouse after having escaped from his home planet of Bloblonia in an attempt to find help due to it being under threat by an evil emperor. It's a simple but effective story, much like the gameplay itself. There's only 4 buttons you ever use, plus a stick for movement. A jumps, Z selects your jelly bean of choice, B throws the jelly beans, and C tells Blob to stop what he's doing and come over to you. And that's it.
Blob!
Without a single waggle to be found. You can use the classic controller, but I found the good old nunchuck and Wiimote combination works fine, but either setup is okay.
Blob himself is invincible, so Boy needs his help to get past the Emperor's evil minions and bosses. And likewise, Blob needs Boy's help to feed him different jelly beans, which will make him morph into a variety of different things, like parachute, a rocket, or my personal favourite, the bubblegum bouncer.
You do feel like the two really need each other, and this builds up quite a friendship between these two unlikely heroes. It's kind of like a single-player co-op game, but it's a shame there was no actual co-op. They could have done something really cool with that.
For the most part, Blob's AI is pretty good too. There were a few times where it was just a bit dense. It only happened a few times though. More noticeably, Blob seems to struggle with small steps.
There's a fair few jelly beans to feed Blob, and it keeps the gameplay fresh, as well as turning every little enemy and platform into its own little puzzle itself. This never really is a strain on the brain though. It's quite easy to figure out what you have to do, and this is partly because the game does a good job of easing you into Blob's powers, and partly because for a lot of the game it tells you exactly what to do on a nearby signpost.
Yeah, it's a very forgiving game. You have an infinite number of lives and checkpoints are on just about every platform. So yeah, it's a little on the easy side, but the challenge is still there, and I think they got the balance just right. It's almost impossible to rage quit this game because of the forgiving nature of it.
Each level has 3 treasure chests to collect, and if you get them all, at the end Blob regurgitates them to unlock another level. Then if you get that, it unlocks other goodies such as concept art. I found getting these chests required solving some of the most difficult puzzles, and some of them were really hard to find, so it added a nice extra challenge to do.
Oh, but Badge, you forgot the best button. The hug button. Aww.
Yes, it's all very cute, and no doubt you've noticed the visuals, which are just beautiful. It's all hand-drawn, and it makes you feel like you're playing within a cartoon.
Over here!
You know, I love how much character there is in the little blob, and it's essentially just a couple of dots for eyes and then a mouth. I loved how he turned red when he got frustrated, or grey when he got scared because he was near a baddie. It gave him a real sense of personality. What did you think of the game all up?
We've been spoilt with great 2D games lately, and A Boy and His Blob continues that trend. It's not the best there is, and the puzzles and platforming aren't that satisfying on their own, but when combined it forms a truly beautiful and heartwarming game. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it's just like getting a big hug to the face. I'm giving it 8.5 as well. Badge, ever since Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, the inbox has just been flooded with Pokemon questions.
I know, there's enough Pokemon questions in there to fill up a whole year's worth of shows, so maybe we should try to make a dent with an Ask Good Game Pokemon parade.
Good thinking, Badge. How about we start off with this one from Tracy in Watsonia, Victoria.
I'm playing Pokemon Soul Silver and I've got 7 badges, but I can't get to the next town. How do I get to Blackthorn City?
Well, Tracy, there's actually a lot of stuff you have to do before you can travel to Blackthorn City.
Yeah, you should get a phone call after leaving your last gym saying that Goldenrod City has been taken over by those rascals from Team Rocket, and the whole town is infested with rocket grunts. So you'll need to get to the radio tower, but to get into it, you'll need to look like one of those rocket grunts. So head to the underground tunnel and get your disguise on.
Then once you get to the top of the radio tower, you'll get a basement key. Once you have that, then head back to the underground tunnel to access the basement, work your way through there, and you'll receive a key card.
Then head back to the 3rd floor of the radio tower, take down the rocket executives and collect your reward. A rainbow or silver wing, depending on which version you're playing.
Fly back to Mahogany Town and the man should now let you travel east. After you make your way through the ice path, you'll reach Blackthorn City.
Whew, well, I hope you had a pen and paper for that. Alright, moving on to the next question in our Pokemon party from Josh and Kathy Muse, South Australia.
How do I get a Ho-Oh in Pokemon Heart Gold? Ah, yes, you seek the all-too-famous legendary birds.
And fear not, because you can even get them before the Elite Four.
Yeah, after you've beaten the 8th gym, just head back to Ecruteak City and get ready for a fairly tough set of battles.
Going into the Kimono House will let you battle the Kimono Sisters, but be warned, you won't be able to heal in between fights, so it's pretty tough.
Then, once you've beaten all 5 of them, you'll receive either a Clear Bell or a Tide Bell. In Heart Gold, head to the Bell Tower in Ecruteak City and make your way up to find the Ho-Oh.
Alright, another one down. Next up in this Pokemon procession is this one from Declan in Bacchus Marsh, Victoria.
In Pokemon Soul Silver, how do you find Lugia?
Well, to get Lugia, you'll need some Pokemon with Surf and Whirlpool. Flash would be useful too. Just head up to Route 41, go through the Whirlpool to reach the Whirl Islands, and make your way down into the cave where you'll meet Lugia.
Keep in mind that you won't be able to progress further in the game without either capturing or defeating this legendary Pokemon. But if you do defeat them accidentally, they will reappear after you beat the Elite Four, if you want to capture them.
And don't worry, you can get the other legendary birds when you get the other Rainbow or Silver Wing later in the game.
Ah! You're hurting them!
He's fine. That's all the time we have for this week. If you'd like to send us some emails, please do it at the website here. Excuse me. Horrible. I'm multitasking.
Darren, move over and give Ajax some room.
Oh.
Well, hello, Ajax, and welcome to the Den of Gaming.
Thank you.
Ajax is our new reporter. He's going to be going out and about meeting gamers and finding us stories for the show. Ajax, what have you got for us this week?
Well, first up, I visited a gamer who spent thousands of dollars building himself a great gaming rig.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look.
Sounds dull. But at least my noob detector hasn't gone off. Yet.
To get the most out of your favourite games, it pays to put the extra effort into your gaming setup. For example, when I play racing games, I like to go the extra mile. So with a bit of gaffer tape and old timber, I've been able to transform my gaming setup into this Formula 1 racing car. Look, it does its job. But for something a bit more impressive, check this out.
All units, this is 7 November Golf, by unit Alpha Echo.
I'm Matthew Scheel, and this is my 747 simulator.
So Matt, tell us a little bit about what we're sitting in now.
We're sitting in a Boeing 747-400 series, which is the newer of the 747s. It weighs about 2.5 tonne. It's been constructed over 10 years. I've always been interested in aircraft. From the time I was a kid, I used to build cardboard simulators. And then when I got the means to actually do something myself, well, I just got a little bit carried away, I guess you might say.
So from go to woe, how long did it take to make?
I guess there was probably a good 5 years of construction that went into it. We've only recently put on a new visual system, which is 180 degrees. It's about a 8 metre screen by 2 metre screen, run with 3 projectors that gives you the sensation that you're moving, even if you're not moving. About 4 years ago, we put hydraulic motion on, and that makes the simulator move around when you're on board.
What was the most difficult thing to get right?
A lot of the things that you don't see, for example, the rudder pedals that you put your feet on, took a long time to construct and have them operate because they do adjust forward and back. I must admit, it quite amazes me how it keeps going most of the time, because with 40 programs and 14 computers all trying to talk to each other, it just blows me away how it doesn't break down a lot more often.
So I've been waiting to ask, can I take the controls?
Sure you can. Away you go. You're flying now.
All right. So you're also an accredited pilot. How does flying this compare to flying a real plane?
Well, no comparison at all. You're very regimented when you fly, and you can't go away from the track that you've been assigned. Whereas in a simulator, you can do whatever you like. If we want to go inverted and fly upside down, we can do that because we're not doing any harm.
So how do you top this toy? What are you going to build next?
There's an old saying, he who dies with the most toys wins. I think I've just about got it. It's literally a toy. It's a big Nintendo game. We enjoy it. I have friends come out and everyone is just blown away. They can't believe how real it is when you're inside.
All right, let's do it again. Okay, that was good, right?
We're flying down the ILS of Kai-Tak and we'll attempt to land on the runway since you're flying.
All right, attempt. Come on, we're going to land.
There we go. Got the runway visual? And that wasn't bad for your first attempt at Kai-Tak.
Thanks, mate.
Made it to the runway. That was all right.
One Face review time. That's where we get your verdict on a game, whether it's awesome, average, or awful, via the power of your pitches.
That's right, and this week it's Sonic Unleashed up for scrutiny.
Sonic Unleashed is one of many Sonic games. In fact, there are now about 40 games in the series. However, many gamers don't see the 3D games, like Sonic Unleashed, as true sequels.
That's because Sonic started in the early days of console gaming, when everything was 2D and went sideways really fast. And when developers were able to move Sonic into 3D, they never really quite captured the thrill and the enjoyment of the original games.
After a few dud games, Sonic Unleashed really tried to keep that super fast platforming mayhem that gamers loved about the little blue hedgehog while trying to keep it in a 3D world. Unleashed alternated between over-the-shoulder bits, side-scrolling levels, and nighttime sections in which Sonic would transform into the fearsome werehog and then hurl his fur at some enemies.
Oh dear. I think mixing up all those gameplay styles in one game is a recipe for disaster.
But is it, Darren? Okay, it totally is. Sonic Unleashed may have sold close to 5 million copies, but the next Sonic game planned from Sega is a return to the 2D side-scrolling roots, with all that 3D stuff being chucked out with the trash where it belongs.
But do you think it's a mistake to throw out all the 3D elements? I mean, maybe the viewers enjoyed Sonic Unleashed more than we did. Darren, could you process the One Face reviews, please?
Affirmative. Merging faces. Projecting thumb telemetry. Omitting duplicates. Yes, you know who you are. Finished. We have a verdict. And Sonic Unleashed will be forever known as awesome.
Ah, the Spawn Point viewers are a smart bunch. We shall take their verdict and hang it on the One Face Review Wall of Fame, where it will remain for all of eternity to be admired by gamers of all kinds, or something like that.
Next time, we're going to pin a verdict on Tetris, that classic puzzle game that everyone has played. And if you haven't, there's a version of it available on every single platform. So go out there, do your research, then submit your One Face reviews to us here.
Did you know that there are 17 species of hedgehog and none of them are native to Australia?
Well, you know, we've got our own version, which is the echidna, which is a spiny anteater, which is even related to the platypus.
Oh, I see. Who's the geek with the factoids now?
I know things too.
Well, sadly, that brings us to the end of another episode of Good Games Spawn Point. But don't forget you can download this and any other episode of the show from our website here.
Next week, we take to the skies in the new Wii game, Skycrawlers.
What?
Well, aren't you going to launch into some long diatribe about how Skycrawlers was based on an anime series from 2008, which in turn was based on a series of novels from Hiroshi Mori, which followed the trials and tribulations of a group of young fighter pilots?
unabashedly no. But I was going to mention that the team that developed Skycrawlers also made the Ace Combat series of games.
I knew that was too good to be true.
We'll also be meeting another family of fanatical gamers. Until then, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Arjo out.
I'm never out.
Can't you just work with us? Just work with us.
Negative.
It's not called The Darren Show.
No.